Hello children, I am Satya and I welcome you all to LUCID STUDY. So today we are going to start our very first lesson of class 8 from AP syllabus. And can you guess the name of the lesson? Yes, you're right. The best Christmas present in the world. And this lesson is written by Mr. Michael Murpergo. So first let us talk about the author of the lesson and then get into the context of the lesson. So talking about the author, Mr. Michael Murpergo is one of the British best-loved children book writers, has written more than 100 books and has won the Smarty prizes. And one of the best awards he received are the Whitbread Award and most recently the Blue Peter Book Award for Private Peaceful. And you know what? He is also the author of War Horse, which has been made into Tony Award-winning Broadway play and a Golden Globe nominated film. Does this author look special for you? Yes, he's one of the world's best novel writers. And I want you to remember his name for all over the lesson. Before we get into the context of the lesson, it is very important for us to know the author of the lesson. And repeating his name, the name of the author of this lesson is Mr. Michael Murpergo. And where is he originated from? This author is one of British novel writer. Okay. So now let us move on to the lesson. So there are some dates or periods of time in the history of the world that are so significant that everyone knows and remembers them. What does this mean? There are some incidents or situations which took place and everyone remembers those situations or that events or that particular date. So this lesson deals with that particular situation which took place between the British and the Germans in the year 1914. And what does this situation here? This situation is a war, and a war between the British and the Germans. Can you guess which war it is? I am going to give you 5 seconds for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, you're right. It is the World War I, which took place from 28 July 1914 to 11th November 1918. So this lesson is going to deal about a situation which took place from the year 1914 to 1918, and this situation or this incident was between the Germans and the Britishers. So now let us move on to the very first paragraph of the lesson. Starting about the first paragraph, what does it mean? I spotted it in a junk shop in Bridport. Who spotted it? It's the narrator of the lesson. A roll-top desk. What did the narrator spot? He spotted a roll-top desk in Bridport. What is Bridport here? Bridport is a place in England. The man said it was early 19th century and oak. This particular roll desk was made in early 19th century and that roll desk was made up of oak wood. I had wanted one, but they were far too expensive. This was in a bad condition. The roll top in several pieces, one leg clumsily mended, scotch marks all down one side. What does this mean here? The author or the narrator always wanted to buy a desk which was made up of oak. But why didn't he buy one? Because they were far too expensive for him. Then he got to know about one roll desk which is in a very bad condition. And what does that bad condition mean here? The roll top was in several pieces. One leg clumsily mended. Clumsily here means in a careless way. Scotch marks. Scotch marks here is burn marks all down one side. That roll desk was clumsily mended. But it means that this one side of its leg was clumsily mended. It was put in a careless way and then it had some burn marks on it. It was going for very little money. I thought I could restore it. It would be a risk, a challenge, but I had to have it. I paid the man and brought it back to my workroom at the back of the garage. I began work on it on Christmas Eve. You know, we all of us just read it, right? It was in a very bad condition. So it was going for very little money, which means that it was not that expensive. He thought he could restore it. What does the word restore here mean? Repair it or get it back to the previous condition. It would be a risk. He knows it's a risk or a challenge to repair it, but he had to have it. At any cost, the author always wanted to buy one desk which was made up of oak. So at any cost, he's not going to control. He always wanted to buy one. So he bought it for very less money and he thought of restoring it. He paid the man, who is the man here? The seller, and brought it back to my workroom at the back of the garage. So he paid the man and he brought it to his garage, thought he could repair it. He began work on it on Christmas Eve. You know what is Christmas, but what does the word Eve mean here? The day or period of time immediately before an event or an occasion. We all of us know that we celebrate Christmas on 25th. So 24th here is considered as Christmas Eve. So he started to repair it on Christmas Eve, that is 24th December. And next, I removed the roll top completely and pulled out the drawers. The veneer had lifted almost everywhere. It looked like water damage to me. Both fire and water had clearly taken their toll on this desk. The last drawer was stuck fast. I tried all I could do ease it out gently. In the end, I used brute force. What does this paragraph mean? He removed the roll top completely and pulled out all the drawers. And then he could see that the veneer had lifted almost everywhere. What does the word veneer mean? Veneer is a thin layer of plastic or decorative wood on furniture of a cheap wood. You can see here is that, right? The top layer of the wood has lifted away. It was completely damaged. Both fire and water had clearly taken their toll on this desk. What does this mean here? Fire and water completely damaged the top of the desk. The last drawer was stuck fast. The last drawer. At the very beginning, we saw that he pulled out all the drawers. But there was a last drawer which was stuck to the desk. He was trying to pull it out with a huge force, but he was not able to open it. And then, in the end, he used brute force. What does the word brute force mean here? Brute force is application of force. With huge force, he tried pulling it out. I reached in. He was successful in it and took out a small back tin box. He was able to pull that drawer out. And what did he find here? He found a small back tin box. Sellotaped to the top of it was a piece of lined note paper and written on it shaky handwriting, Jim's last letter, received January 25th, 1915. To be buried with me when the time comes. I knew, as I did in that it was wrong of me to open the box, but curiosity got the better of my scruples. It usually does. So he was successful in opening the last drawer. He opened it, and what did he find here? He found a black tin box. And what did he find in that black tin box? He found a letter or a lined note paper which states that Jim's last letter received on January 25th, 1915, to be buried with me when the time comes. The author thought that it was very wrong of him to open that. But what does humans, as humans, we always have the curiosity to find mysterious things. So the narrator found it mysterious, and with his curiosity, he wanted to know what was written in that. And inside the box, there was an envelope. The address read, Mrs. Jim Macpherson, 12 Copper Beeches, Bridport, Dorset. I took out the letter and unfolded it. It was written in a pencil and dated at the top, December 26, 1940. And inside the box, he also found an envelope, and that envelope, and there was an address which was mentioned on that envelope, and it was written to Mrs. Jim Macpherson, 12 Copper Beeches. This is the address, 12 Copper Beeches, Bridport, Dorset. He took out the letter, he unfolded it, and it was written in pencil, and it was the date that was mentioned was December 26th, 1914. What does the word unfolded mean? Open or spread out from a folded position. For example, if this is folded and if we try to open it, then that says it is unfolded. So he unfolded the letter, and now let us see what was written in the letter. So before we see what is written in the letter, let us have a quick comprehension check. The first question, what did the author find in a junk shop? What did the author find in a junk shop? Yes, you're right. He found a rolled desktop. Next, what did he find in a secret drawer? We all of us know. He found a black tin box inside a secret drawer, and inside the black tin box, there was an envelope. And whom do you think had put it in there? Now this is going to be mysterious. We can answer this question once if we get into the letter. Now let us quickly read what is written inside the letter, and then we will be able to answer this question. Now, the letter begins as, Dearest Connie, I write to you in a much happier frame of mind because something wonderful has just happened that I must tell you about once. Whom this letter was written to? This letter was written to Connie. And what does the first line says? I write to you in a much happier frame. The writer of this letter was very happy. And he would like to let Connie know that something wonderful has just happened that he is going to tell her about it. We all are standing in our trenches yesterday morning, Christmas morning. All the soldiers, as you can see, all the soldiers were in their trenches, and that day was Christmas Eve. It was crisp and quiet all about, as beautiful a morning as I have ever seen, as cold and frosty as a Christmas morning should be. Christmas mornings are always frosty because it's obviously the winter season. And he thought that it was very crisp and very quiet. It was a very beautiful morning he have ever seen. As cold and as frosty a Christmas morning should be. What does the trenches mean here? Trenches are long, deep ditches in the ground where soldiers hide from enemies. As you can see here, they have built-in trenches so that they could hide here from their enemies. So here, the writer along with his other soldiers were hiding in the trenches, protecting themselves from their enemies. And it was the Christmas morning, and that Christmas morning was very beautiful that he has never seen it before. It was very crisp and quiet and as cold and as frosty as a Christmas morning should be. Now let us move to the next paragraph. Now the next paragraph here is, I should like to be able to tell you that we began it. But the truth, I am ashamed to say, that is the Fritz began it. First someone saw a white flag waving from the trenches opposite. Then they were calling out to us from across no man's land, Happy Christmas, Tommy, Happy Christmas. Who were shouting? First, they were in the trenches. The Britishers were in their trenches, the Germans were in their trenches. And suddenly, the Britishers saw someone waving a white flag from the Germans' trenches. And they shouted. Who shouted? A Fritz. A Fritz shouted, Happy Christmas, Tommy, Happy Christmas. The Germans began wishing them because it's the Christmas time for the Britishers. Who is Fritz here? It's the name of a German soldier. And who is Tommy here? A common English name for which is used to refer British soldiers. So here Fritz is from German, Tommy is for Britishers. So Fritz here is the German soldier. And Tommy here is, it's a common name for a British soldier. And I'm going to repeat this paragraph. The Germans started to wave a white flag and they started to wish the British soldiers, Happy Christmas, Tommy, Happy Christmas.